We're ready?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Peter Sipkins. I'm the chair of the Measure J Oversight Commission, and I would like to call the Thursday, January 15, 2026, regular meeting of the commission to order. Melissa, can you please call roll?
Yes. Commissioner Gavrileros,
Present.
Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Isaac,
Present.
Commissioner Dickens. Present. Commissioner Hopkins, Commissioner Newby,
Present.
Commissioner Travis,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kravitz,
Present.
Chair Sipkins.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next is the Pledge of Allegiance, item number 3 on the agenda. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to
Allegiance to the flag
the United States
and the
Republic,
republic which
one
is
nation,
nation, God, invisible, rules, law.
Thank you. Item 4 on the agenda is the acceptance of the agenda. Can I have a motion to accept the agenda, please?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second?
Do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Gavrileros,
Yes.
Commissioner Isaac,
Yes.
Commissioner Dickpin,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Travis,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kravitz,
Yes.
Chair Sipkins.
Yes.
Motion passed 7-0.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes of our meeting of December 18, 2025. And I have a motion to accept that agenda, or that approval of those minutes. Anyone?
I'll move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Any additions or comments to the minutes of December 18th as prepared? If not, we have a vote.
Commissioner Gavrileros,
Accept.
Commissioner Davis, I'm sorry, Commissioner Isaac,
Approve.
Commissioner Dickpin. Yes. Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Travis,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kravitz,
Yes.
Chair Sipkins.
I abstained since I was not present at that meeting.
7-1 motion, 6-1 motion passes.
The next item on the agenda is item number 6, public comment. This time has been set aside for members of the public to address the Measure J Commission on agenda items and items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. Although the commission values your comments, pursuant to the Brown Act, it generally cannot take any action on items not listed on the posted agenda. 3 minutes are assigned for each speaker. Do we have any public comment tonight?
We do not.
We do not. Thank you. And, next item on the agenda is item number 7, welcome comments from the commission chair. And let me just say, I welcome you all. And I'm sorry that I missed last meeting. And I know that Commissioner Kravitz did a great job and could fill in whenever I can't be here. And I know he wants to be the chair as soon as he can be the chair. No, he did a great job, and thank you for doing that, Vice Chair. I appreciate it very much. Those are the only comments I have for tonight. Item number 8 is new business. Item 8A is the Palm Springs Convention Center update, and we have a speaker on that tonight.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce Mark Ware from Daily Strategies. Mark is a very integral part, and his team are very integral parts to the movement of this project, the Convention Center project. We couldn't have done it without Mark, frankly. So I appreciate his work, and I'll turn it over to him for a presentation.
Thanks, Chris. I'm with a firm called Daily Strategies, and we assist the city in communications and stakeholder engagement. We've been having presentations, the one that we'll be giving you, with various organizations throughout Palm Springs, and excited to share with you an update on where the Convention Center and Connectivity Project is and how it's moving along. So, let's see here. Are we good? Let's see if this works. All right. If not, we can just do it right here, right? There we go. Okay, so just some background on the Convention Center. It was opened in 1974. It was expanded by 100,000 square feet in 2005. It's obviously a desert aesthetic, but it's been a while since it's had an update. It's a little tired and needs a refresh. Some notable events and some facts and figures on the Convention Center. You know, we host the Palm Springs International Film Festival there, Modernism Week, the Harvey Milk Breakfast, Steve Chase Awards. So this is obviously what a facility that the community uses. We're all familiar with it. However, it needs a little bit more attention than what it's been getting over the past several years. What we're hearing we did a convention sports and leisure international futures report, essentially a study of what meeting planners were looking for and why we have a kind of a decline over time of conventions at the Convention Center. And they're telling us that essentially the space isn't flexible enough. There's technology that's outdated, and that we just need to improve the overall aesthetics. And so every convention destination has kind of this wide component of attractions on the outside as well as on the inside of the Convention Center. Kind of a district is what most cities are leaning towards and building out. But we have an amazing downtown. We have a convention center, but we don't have kind of that district feel and vibe that a lot of meeting planners are looking for when they are selecting where to take their conventions. So this is what we're hearing from them. And they also have commented that our convention center is like an island, essentially. It's off by itself. It's difficult to walk to and from the hotels and the downtown area. And so they're looking at ways they're asking for us to make those improvements in order for them to bring their conventions to Palm Springs. What we have heard from them is that if we make these improvements, they will consider Palm Springs and they will select the city as part of their cycle on where to bring conventions. So we know that success that we're seeing at Palm Springs Airport will help the Convention Center and vice versa. So these two entities that have a focus here within Palm Springs will really kind of rise. The rising tide will lift all boats. So both projects will help each other. So what is this overall modernization plan that we have for the Convention Center and the connectivity piece? So let's walk through those. So this here is looking specifically at just the Convention Center and the upgrades that would need to take place. It's looking at a kind of a two-phased approach. The first phase would be a renovation of the existing facility, and the second phase would be an expansion on the eastern side and an improved eastern entrance. So as part of this, we're looking at ways to have much more outdoor space that's used because planners want kind of a unique experience. And we have that in Palm Springs. We have the most beautiful vistas, great mountain views, palm trees everywhere, and let's take advantage of that. So we want to have that opportunity on both the western side of the Convention Center as well as the eastern side. There's also an interest in having food and beverage component and kiosks and places for people to gather while they're not sitting in a convention ballroom. They can sit and enjoy food, drink, coffee, whatever, in and around the Convention Center space area. So we're looking at having improvements in technology, as I mentioned before, and there's also a planned conversion of that eastern side ballroom to allow for more flexible space and to hold larger conventions. So that's the improvements that are planned for the actual convention center. This is improvements for that overall district vibe. This is what we're calling the connectivity improvements. Essentially, it's pedestrian improvements to get people in and around the convention center area in a way that's comfortable, that allows for them to walk from their hotel or walk from downtown to the convention center in an area that's shaded, that has sidewalks. Right now, it's uncomfortable. And so we're looking at making those improvements on a variety of streets, Alejo included. We're also looking at arenas how we can improve that flow and that connectivity. So there's a variety of different things that the urban planner is going to consider and make recommendations on. Pedestrian lighting is one. Shade structures, for example. What does it look like? What do those shade structures look like? Are they trees, or are they something more mechanical? We're also looking at what public art could be displayed throughout these areas. And we also need and have heard that we need better wayfinding signage. So as part of this overall effort, there's been an architect that has been identified to move forward for the convention center redesign. There's been an urban planner. And there's also been a marketing firm to come up with suggestions and ideas on what this district could be called. So all three of those entities, all three of those companies, have been contracted by the city, and City Council approved the latest for the urban planner, the last contract that we needed last night. So that's all moving forward. These next several slides are all renderings. Nothing is final. As I mentioned, the urban planner and the architect have just been brought on board. So these are all old, but you'll see here, the roadway in front of the west entrance has been closed off. This provides much more flexible space for outdoor events in front of the convention center. Again, these are just renderings. Here's an example of what the eastern entrance could look like, providing that outdoor space, that flexible space. This is what this is what the meeting planners are asking for. They're saying, give us something unique. We know that Palm Springs is unique. If we have outdoor space, then we kind of package it all together and can attract these conventions. So this here is a project timeline that shows, we've been going through the planning, design, and project approval phases here, but we're really looking at getting this completed by 2028. It's an aggressive timeline. The City Council and the City Administration have really pushed all the consultants and the stakeholder group to really make decisions quickly, move this forward in order to achieve that timeline. The reasons why is because the longer we wait on this, the less impact we're going to have lower tax collections. So the quicker we do this, the quicker we make this happen, the better it is economically for the whole city. So what is those kind of three components that I mentioned earlier? This is the breakdown in cost. So a upgrade and renovation of the West Side Convention Center is targeted around $52 million. The East Side expansion is close to $60 million. And the pedestrian connectivity improvements is $23.4 million, so for a total project cost of $135 million. So the potential funding sources for this, Measure J, you all stepped up and approved $10 million to be used for design. This happened about last year. We're also looking at Measure J to come forth with additional funds at some point. Chris can dive into the details on that. There's obviously current TOT that's paying for debt financing on bonds, and we're looking at implementing a TID. This would be new to Palm Springs. It's a tourism improvement district. This would be a 1% fee on lodging. We originally were looking at it, it was possibly going to include restaurants, but that's been removed. This is what the tourism infrastructure district looks like. Essentially, the entire city of Palm Springs, all lodging, that's large hotels, small hotels, and STRs. This would be an assessment that is placed on a bill at 1% of room revenue. It will bring in approximately $4 million annually. And as I mentioned before, there's no assessment on restaurants or retail businesses. All three verticals, small hotels, large hotels, and STRs, their kind of governing organization have all endorsed and supported this and are helping move forward a petition drive to collect 50% plus one signatures in order to make this TID a reality. The governance will look like this. There will be an owners association that will be created. Governing members will include the three verticals I mentioned, large hotels, small hotels, and STRs. And their primary duty is to provide an annual report to the City Council. There's a waterfall design for funding this. So it would be the first funds would go towards administration and making sure that we have all the payments there for bonds and issuing of that. Then, of course, the debt servicing of the bonds, that's the super majority of the funds. And then there'll be a maintenance reserve, and if only if, there'll be leftover funds for marketing, but that's not really anticipated at this point. So what are the overall economic benefits of this? Well, you'll see here, if we do nothing, we see tax revenue decline, economic output declines, but with this investment, we see tax revenues go up. This is a 10-year projected number of an economic output of $113 million. Also, we see that with employment, 10-year projections. This is all from our future studies report. And this is the overall 30-year economic projections here. So that ends my presentation. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
So before we go with questions, let me just make sure you know why we're here. And we're here because we did ask the Measure J Commission to fund the design costs for the convention center, and the Measure J Commission did approve that. Those funds that go to design costs will be reimbursed once we issue debt. And so we are probably not too far away from wanting to issue debt for the first phase of this project. And so we would like, and I don't think this is going to take the commission by surprise. We do want to come back for some sort of ask for the Measure J Commission to recommend that we fund some of the debt service for this convention center. Not all of it. That's why we have a tourism improvement district that's going to raise money, because they will take on a portion of the debt as well. So we want to keep you updated on the project. This will be agendized every month to give you an update. Next month it might be a 5-minute update, might be another hour update. But we're going to update you every month to keep you comprised of the project. And sometime in the near future, we intend to come back and ask the commission for a recommendation. So with that, I'd like to open it up, and feel free, ask any questions, ask a lot of questions. We want you to be informed. Mark is making the rounds around the neighborhoods and giving the same presentation. So we want you guys to be on board with everyone else as well.
Let me ask a very fundamental question, Martin, to start with, and that is your role on this project a continuing role, or once things start, do you disappear?
It's stakeholder engagement and communication. So once we get the program rolling and it's underway, then our workload and scope really reduces. Other entities will take on, communications of construction notices and things once that actual process is underway. But our work is basically stakeholder coordination, engagement, and communications.
Right, and to develop the survey that you conducted that led to all the information you've provided tonight, how much time did it take you, and what were the sources of information that you went to?
I don't have an answer for that. That's the CSO studies report. You might have more details on it than I do.
Wayne might, but I don't.
That's all out of the Office of Economic Development. So Wayne was the lead on that. We took that information and refined it for this presentation.
Gotcha. Okay. Any other commissioners?
Mr. Chair.
Jack's got a question. Jack, go ahead.
Sure.
Then we'll work our way down.
I'm assuming that this construction and activity around the convention center is going to have an impact on convention center business and activity. Is there an estimate as to what that impact might be?
It's a great question. We will continue to have conventions. That's part of the scope, and that's part of this effort. Conventions will continue. There is Oakview Group, which is the now O&M provider for the convention center. They have a goal to raise the number of conventions from a current level, which is at 42% occupancy, up to 60%. So they have an effort, and they're doing marketing to secure them now. But they're also out there talking to entities saying, look, the city is committed to making these improvements. And so that's part of their pitch in order to kind of sell these. And so people know that there might be construction happening while their convention is going on, but that's we plan to keep it open, keep it running, and keep the revenue generating.
And just to add on to that too, I know there's some intention, especially with the first phase, to try to get a lot of those initial improvements done in the summer where it's less busy, although it may not be less busy.
Right.
But there is some intention to do that and just so we don't disrupt. But yeah, Oakview is full speed ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you can indulge me for a couple
Yeah,
questions.
absolutely.
Who's our competition in this region? Like, who are we, when we try and steal business away, who are we trying to get it from?
So there's, we're pulling up a slide here that shows TOT rates of competitive cities. So you'll see here, we have, Portland so when I say TOT and TID combined, okay, so most cities have this combination of they're collecting TOD and they have a TID, TOT plus TID, okay? So this here is a chart that breaks down what that looks like. So at Portland, they're at 16%. These are all competitive cities. Denver, 15.75%. Seattle's at 18%. Sacramento's at 16.45%. Anaheim's close to 19%. And Long Beach is at 16%. So, what we have here is an interesting mix of lodging that is different from these cities. They don't have the STR numbers like we do, for example. They have more hotel rooms, which becomes more of a challenge for us because a lot of these planners, they want to come in, lock in a huge chunk of rooms for their convention. So we have to sell it at a little bit of a different angle here. We say, look, we have the rooms, we have them at the small hotels, large hotels, as well as STRs. So it's a little bit of a different angle here, but we think it's actually brings us a more unique experience and allows for convention goers to have the opportunity to possibly bring their family here and stay in an STR while they're off at a convention. So, but these are our competitive cities here, and this is where their rates are. We would still be below all of them.
And Commissioner Newby asked it, when construction is going on, it's in phases where you can still sell conventions and
Absolutely.
make that happen.
Yes.
And then
That's a priority of ours, and we will keep the facility open to generate revenue.
the parking lot that's across the street from there, I believe we lease it from the tribe. Would we improve that, the aesthetics of that parking lot, or is that a separate issue?
I don't have an answer with that one. Do you?
Probably a separate issue.
Yeah, I think
It's
that's-
not part of this project.
It's not.
I know what you're saying. Not part of this project, but yeah, it's mostly focused, now that east, so we are going to have an east side, east room expansion, which is going to be the part that faces that parking lot. And so it'll be a second entrance in a way. There's, the first entrance on the other side of the building, and then that'll be a nice second entrance. So that parking lot will probably get a lot more use than it does today.
And then my last question was about the TID. So the participants in the TID are the folks that determine how that money is going to be spent? Kind of like a Measure J sort of situation?
Yes, so it's governed by a management district plan. That plan outlines how those funds would be allocated. So they've all agreed that it pays initially for in this waterfall. So they said it will pay for administration first, debt issuance on the bonds, and then like a reserve or contingency fund for maintenance.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I was going to follow up with the TID concept, which is a new concept for me. It's voluntary?
No, it's not. So once the petition has reached 50% plus, then it initiates, so there's not a citywide vote, it's a petition drive. And so it would be, once that threshold is met, then they can initiate and start collecting the funds shortly thereafter.
Does it have to be enacted as a city ordinance, or is it not at all governed by the city?
It's a partnership, essentially. So the city has initiated a couple of ordinances that allows for the collection of these bonds to occur over a 40-year period. We anticipated that it's going to be a 30-year bond, and once that maturity hits, then it's over with. The assessment ends. So it could take 32 years, depending on if there's economic downturns or something that happens. So that's why the window is 40 years, and so the city has to go through a process to expand that window, which is what they initiated last night. And then but at the same time, the TID, which has as an independent owners association, they have to initiate the actual petition drive. It's not a city-led petition drive. It is completely independent of the city on that.
And the members of the TID who will make up the vote to get to the 51% are all of the hotels, large, small, and the short-term rentals within the district that you showed.
Correct, within the city limits.
Okay.
Correct.
Within the entire city limits.
Correct.
And have they been polled as to how they feel about having a TID?
Not polled. We've done meetings. We have, like, for example, PS Resorts has had meetings with all the large hotels. We essentially are hearing that they're all supportive. There may be one that they're still working on. The small hotel side of things, Michael Green has led an effort to brief his board and membership, and there's support there. And also on the VRON side for vacation rentals and property management companies have been met with, and they're indicating their support. So we're keeping a kind of a tally as to where we are, and once the petition's released, which we're hoping to see within the next week, then we'll start collecting signatures, and we'll get a number pretty quickly. We're hoping to have the whole petition drive wrapped up by March.
So if the TID goes to fruition, and I'm assuming that it will, and somebody comes to Palm Springs to go to a convention, whether they stay in a small hotel, large hotel, or a short-term rental, what will the tax that they pay be in addition to their room rate?
At 1%.
So that just still at 1%.
Correct.
Yeah, so to look at those numbers up there, right now, let's just say a large hotel pays 13.5% in TOT. We will assess them an additional 1% for this the TID. And they also pay some percentage of that to Visit Greater Palm Springs, but it's a 1% assessment is what the TID will get in their revenue.
In addition to whatever they're already paying.
Correct, in addition to what they're already paying.
Yeah, my question was, what would be the total that they're already paying, including TOT and?
14.5%. It would be the total, 13.5 TOT rate plus a 1% assessment.
And that still is relatively within.
We would still be
other
lower
cities,
than,
right?
Yeah,
lower
much
than
lower
them,
than
yes.
those.
Got it. Okay.
In the way it's conceptualized, this TID, the money would be given to the city and then the city holds it for that group?
Correct. The city will collect, just as we collect TOT, and it'll be part of that entire process. The funds will separate, will have their own fund. And then probably when you issue debt, you also have a trustee that manages that. So they ensure that we send them revenue so they can pay the debt service. But the city will be in charge of collecting all the TID revenue.
So crazy question, forecasting ahead, this could be absorbed by finance. Would you need another staff
We do
position?
have,
or-
we're considering some personnel enhancements, but right now, we're still talking about those things.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Just a follow-up on parking. As I recall, and it's been a while, the Dream Hotel was planned to have some parking available for the convention center. Is that right?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't think so. They're independent of the convention center and this project. They'll participate as far as the assessment goes once they're up and running, but they're independent of this whole thing.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Chris, can you outline for me the debt service plan again?
Well, we're still,
I'm trying to figure that out, and
we'll bring it to you all when we have numbers that we feel more comfortable with.
okay, what are the sources of the debt?
The sources of the
you're
debt
looking
service
at?
right now will
Not the
be
amounts,
the
but
TID, and then Measure J is what we're going to ask. In addition to that, So the general, maybe a little background here. The general fund currently, the city's general fund currently pays, there was convention center debt that was issued 30 or 20 years ago. And so the general fund, the city's general fund pays the debt service on that convention center debt today. That's about $4.6 million. That debt gets paid off in 2034. So what will happen is Measure J will take the load, the TID and the Measure J, after the convention center is constructed, will begin paying that debt that's issued. Once we get to 2034, Measure J will be relieved of $4.6 million of that debt, and so the debt to take on will be a little bit less than what they do now. So it'll be in 2034, it'll be general fund, Measure J, TID. And really today, it's going to be general fund, Measure J, TID, because the general fund currently supports the existing debt.
So what is, I mean, so Measure J money is going to go for the debt service.
Yeah. That's the ask that we'll make when we're ready.
And I guess, the more I get into this, I was disappointed that we weren't consulted
I remember that.
before the city council approved it. That bit, I'll just tell you that. Because I think we should have been consulted, and we weren't. Now, tonight, we find out that more of our money is now going to be, is planned to be set aside for the debt service. I'm feeling a little bit behind the gun here tonight,
Well,
because what kind of Measure J funding are we going to have left to do any community-initiated projects or anything else?
that is still in the plan, is to continue the street work that Measure J funds, to continue the community-initiated project that we do. So, to continue to fund the current downtown revitalization debt, that's all still continuing on. To currently, we've got the library debt in there right now that we're paying for. We would like to ask the commission at some point in time to fund a fire station number 1 and a fire station number 3. All that's still in the plan. So while we will come to the Measure J Commission when we're ready to make that ask, the funding that we've talked about in the past is not going to be interrupted by what we ask of you for the convention center side. So all that still is in play, and we'll show you that whenever we get some solid numbers. None of that's affected. There is some additional city projects that will still go on. All the projects you have that you see in the budget update, all of those will continue to go on. So nothing is interrupted by adding the convention center debt.
Nothing is interrupted, but will it reduce the amount that would be available for other projects?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
Yeah, it will. I mean, just by nature it does. And so will the fire station, and so does the library. All, really cool things that are happening within the city. And I just want to remind the commission too, because we had this issue in the past, is the convention center is a city-owned building. It needs deferred maintenance and it needs capital improvements. And, when we talk about what are the good uses of Measure J funds, we talk about capital improvements. And this is the ultimate of capital. This is a Superman of capital improvements, right? And so, my opinion, city-owned building, great economic driver for the city, great use of Measure J funds, my opinion.
And I'm supportive, okay? My concern has been with the process.
Yeah, now that's, Larry, you are why we are here tonight.
Thank you.
Exactly. We want you to be informed.
Okay.
And we understand your frustration and some of the other commission members' frustration. Absolutely understand that. And really, this is why we're here tonight. This is why this item will be agendized in future meetings or every month until we make that ask, because it is important. And we recognize that it was not the best process when we brought the design work. And we recognize that. And so we want to avoid that. We want to make sure when we make the ask of the commission that you guys know what's going on. And we'll bring regular updates, too, construction updates to the commission when the project is going on. So.
Thank you.
Also, just I'd like to add, so there's been a significant change with the TID over the last 2 weeks. It was originally planned, the stakeholders that were all involved were very supportive of it being the three lodging verticals that we've discussed, plus restaurants. And about 2 weeks ago, the TID Working Group Committee decided that the restaurant component, they need to be removed from it. So which has a fiscal impact, of course, a little over $2 million. So that's another reason why we're here, is because the restaurant revenue is no longer a part of our picture.
Why did they decide not to include their restaurants?
There's a variety of reasons why, but essentially it's administratively it's very difficult because their point of sale systems are very different than the lodging. Lodging's very used to collecting these assessments. There's also thoughts that, we're putting this expense on locals rather than just tourists, and that was another thought process. So, people who live here are going to be going to restaurants, and they would pay the assessment as well. So that was another concern, and the leadership just didn't want to put this assessment on the backs of mom and pop businesses. So with those reasons, they were removed.
Commissioner Cavalieros, you have questions?
Have you guys looked at how like Zoom and those type of conventions are affecting like the overall picture of where conventions are going in the future? Because it seems like nowadays they're encouraging us to do more Zoom rather than actually coming to a city and participating in a convention. So I guess I'm a little concerned at spending all this money and where the future of conventions are. But I do like the idea of having, when I go to conventions, I do enjoy having more communal spaces and things like that. So, but that's I guess my concern is the amount of money we're spending, as well as I guess I'm concerned with the parking, that we're not like adding any parking, or we're still, I guess I'm also concerned with how we're engaging with the tribe and how they're supporting this as well, since much of this falls in their land.
You're exactly right. Well, the tribe is a key stakeholder. They're involved in all of our meetings that we have, and they're participating on many of the working groups that are active. So, to answer that question, I think in terms of what does the convention center or what does the convention world look like with Zooms and kind of post COVID, I think now it's even more essential than before, because people that are teleworking want to gather, talk, have a moment to connect, and they want to do so in kind of unique spaces. Palm Springs is that. If I had to choose between that or going to Indianapolis, I mean, you're going to want to go to Palm Springs. And so that's what planners are looking for. They're looking for this kind of unique experience where people can go, gather, and have a moment to kind of soak in culture and things that are different than what they see in other cities. So this kind of district component, to address your parking question, is really important, because then you have somebody who's staying at a local hotel walking to the facility. The facility needs that. It needs people walking, needs people, they're flying in and staying in our hotels and then, walking to the facility. And there's also going to be people that will drive in, of course. But that's the idea.
Yeah, I'll give an experience on why I think the connectivity piece is really cool. So I was in Washington, D.C. for the conference. I think this was last year sometime. And it was humid and hot. You know how it is when it gets humid and hot in D.C. And I had about a half-mile walk to the convention center for the convention. And by the time I got to that place, I was drenched. I mean, just so. There's no shade, no nothing, no cool things to look at. So I think this connectivity piece is going to be really important to this project. And I think everybody recognizes that. And that's what we're all ready to see. We're all ready to see what that looks like. And we just got the architect on board last night, didn't we? So very cool stuff. Mark, I don't remember the numbers. I'm going to ask you this, and I hope you do, but do you remember how many conventions that we've lost in the last few years?
I don't have that number.
I thought it was like 42 in the last couple of years because of the condition of the center. It needs to be upgraded, and it needs to be done. And there's there needs to be things done like renovation of the kitchen and smaller things like that. And then what the TID is going to provide too which is really cool because we don't have this in effect today. The TID is going to provide a maintenance fund, which Mark spoke about earlier, which is essentially reserved funds that will build to be able to do maintenance on the convention center as it's needed. So the architects that are going to come in or are working on it right now will say, okay, this convention center needs carpet replacement in 5 years, a technology upgrade in 10 years, kitchen appliance replacement in 7 years. Whatever that plan is, we're going to be building the reserves on the side through the TID revenue so that it doesn't put pressure on city funds in the future. So that as these things come along, we can continue to refresh the convention center and keep it clean and keep it new. So, yeah.
I have a question.
Yep. Go ahead.
Wanted to ask about the expansion. How many square feet is the expansion? What are the facilities that are going to be added? And is the assumption that the expansion will help attract larger conventions?
Yes, that is correct. It's a 30,000 square foot expansion. And yes, that is the goal. It's to be able to provide not only larger conventions, but two conventions that can happen simultaneously. So that's why the east entrance is important, as well as obviously the existing entrance. So it literally could be divided in half or 30, whatever it is.
Great. And do you know what facilities are included within that space?
Well, it doesn't, it just expands the footprint of the convention center that's there right now. It doesn't go beyond that.
Okay.
And the
Right,
architect
and I guess-
lay out all this. That's their goal, their role in this, and they were just brought on 2 or 3 weeks ago. So
Right.
very beginning stages.
I have a question. Although the convention center is primarily located in the city of Palm Springs, a lot of the business that we get for the convention center is spread across the entire Coachella Valley as far as hospitality is concerned. Have we considered imposing that tax to the neighboring cities as well, or is their impact very minimal?
Well, I mean, this is a Palm Springs owned facility.
So we can't.
To go and ask for another city to pay for our building won't fly.
Oh, well, I mean, because when we get bids in for the Palm Springs Convention Center for events that goes there, it goes to all the hotels
Right.
in the Coachella Valley, not just Palm Springs. So valley-wide.
Asking a TID to expand beyond the limits. They looked at that and decided that it's better because it's Palm Springs focused, and to get the support, because you got to get above that 50% threshold of signatures. Once you expand
What's a
that
minimum?
district,
Gotcha.
then all of a sudden you have a much more difficult, challenging environment to get that 50% threshold.
Gotcha.
So if we've expanded it to the whole Coachella Valley, that's a heavy lift.
Yeah, I would it's not a real good comparison, but it's kind of similar to how the airport works, right? It's Palm Springs Airport, but it does benefit everybody in the valley. And we do think that's probably going to be some economic impact. I don't know how much it would be to some of the places down valley, but it's really going to be very impactful for the city of Palm Springs.
Commissioner Isaac?
Yeah, can you explain to me again this petition process and what kind of numbers are we talking about?
Absolutely. So the petition, in order to get over the threshold, it's based on the revenue that each business is generating. So essentially, we could get above our threshold by having all of the large hotels say yes and a small portion of STRs, or a small portion of the small hotels. So it's, we obviously don't want that. We want broad support, and we're working towards that, and we're seeing that we have broad support. But when you're talking about 3,000 STRs, individual operators to get signatures from, it's a challenge. It's an administrative challenge, logistical challenge. So it's not that it can't be overcome, but to go and get 14 signatures from the 14 major hotels will get us very close to that threshold. And then work on the small hotels, agencies, STR agencies. We can get them, and then they represent a cluster. So we've talked with many of them and have endorsements to move that forward.
Thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners?
So we talked a little bit about the costs, if you will, to Measure J. What are the benefits?
Well, I think, so the benefits are going to be the economic impact through the renovation. So, Measure J, sales tax. We definitely think the economic impact will be a sales tax improvement as well as a TOT improvement. So, this goes in, it jumps up sales tax, and, to Larry's point earlier about this does sort of erase some of the revenue that we would have for other projects. Well, if we see a sizable increase in sales tax, that helps get us to other projects. So, yeah.
That's what I thought.
Any other questions of commissioners? I guess I had one last question. Using the number 42 as the number that Director Mooney suggested.
Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on
I'm
that.
using that
It's
as
something like that.
As a hypothetical, for purpose of the question. Did they go to competitors, or were they organizations in part that decided not to have conventions anywhere?
They went to competitive cities.
Okay, so this is not the organizations are deciding to do it by Zoom or some other way. That was my.
Yeah.
When we lose on a bidding process for a convention, do we ever look where they ended up going?
Absolutely. Yeah. Gaylord in San Diego is probably the closest example, Mark. I don't know.
That's the huge one being built right now.
I think it's finished.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I think it's finished. But yeah, we do, the convention center, Oakview, who's, managing the center, absolutely keeps those statistics. Because we're gonna get them back when this is done.
Yeah, so here's one of the stats from the futures report. Over 278,000 room nights were lost between 2010 and 2023. So we obviously know that COVID was a piece of that, but yeah, it's significant. And we just have noticed that conventions have declined over time. There's a lot of data in the future studies report, which we can give you a full copy of. It's pretty interesting.
You interested in that, Peter?
I think so.
Yeah.
Can we
Yep.
provide
Yep.
it?
Absolutely.
Actually, provide it to Melissa and she can forward it on to commissioners.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's very cool information, honestly. It really is.
We can do that.
Mr. Travis, any questions?
Nothing other than I guess the other is in terms of the connectivity for project. Are they looking at how are they looking at dealing with accessibility and climate?
You're absolutely great. It's a great question. ADA compliance is a key component of this, so that will be absolutely a part of it. And then in terms of climate, you're right. Shade structures have been talked about as part of this. The urban planner will consider what that looks like. The urban planner that has been brought on board has a lot of experience working in desert climates. So they have ideas and thoughts. What that looks like is undefined right now. It's pretty exciting that this is the beginning of the process, and so as they get stakeholder feedback and thoughts, they'll come up with their concepts. It could be some that's shade by trees and canopies, or it could be done through structures. We don't know what this looks like yet, and so as Chris mentioned, coming back to you all every month with an update, you'll get to see this evolve and see what the urban planner and the architect are coming up with for these plans.
Right.
I'm assuming that the businesses along the connectivity are excited about the possibility, since there'll be large crowds walking by their businesses. Is there any thought of attempting to get financing from them?
Not financing from them, but their feedback and thoughts, yes.
Okay.
And there's some hotels that are contributing to the TID that are along that corridor too. So, or corridors. There's multiple corridors being studied.
Any other questions? Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for the time.
The next item on the agenda is an agenda item that was on the agenda last month, and that is assign additional commissioners to projects that currently have a single commissioner oversight. And there are just a few of those, and some of those are probably far enough along or insignificant enough that having
Page 4.
Page 4.
Yeah.
Page 4 of your budget update.
Yeah, thank you. So, going down the line here. So 18 is the Bristol Park, that's yours,
Yes.
Vice Chair? And that one, am I correct that that's one that's going to be taken over by, Parks
We
and Rec?
don't know yet. We're having some discussions. I think we should assign a commissioner to it along with Vice Chair.
Kravitz?
Yeah.
Which commissioners, if any, volunteers to be co-commissioner assigned to that project? All right,
I won't take this personally, but,
all right,
Mr. Chair.
all right, if nobody else would do it, Vice Chair, put me down.
I'm with you on one, I'll be with you on that.
Thank you.
Oh, okay,
Commissioner Newby will be.
all right, put Commissioner Newby down.
With the first one?
Project 18, or number
Project
18.
18.
Yeah.
There's another one that you're the sole one on, and that's the Palm Springs Women's Club.
Eisenhower. Eisenhower.
That one, Mr.
that's-
Chair, I'm good on that. That's probably going to conclude with the second quarter of this
That's
year.
Eisenhower or
Yeah.
19?
Yeah, I would agree with that too. They have told us that their intention is to use the money for furniture and fixtures, and they're about ready to use that money, so.
That's
Okay, so
number
that
20.
one's, so 20 is fine. What about 19?
That one we didn't assign Mr. Chair because it was under 50,000.
Okay.
The
24.
center, the rainbow.
Center 24,
Spell that one.
Commissioner Newby.
That would be nice to have a second on that one.
Is there a volunteer to join with Commissioner Newby on that one?
I'll volunteer for that.
Thank you. Mr. Caballeros, be on that one.
And do we know when they're looking at additional funding? Do we know what that timeline might be? Because I was just wondering whether.
Yes, I
touch base
believe,
with them.
if I remember from the meeting, and we've had several of them, I think they wanted to go back and grab another solar quote, right, Melissa?
Yes.
Grab another, because theirs was a little bit old, and they wanted to make sure that they had enough funding if the solar quote went up a little bit. So they're in the process of doing that, and they're going to get back with us.
So it's too early to contact.
Ruth Hardy Park.
Ruth Hardy Park Workhouse Space, yeah, that's one isn't there another one that Director of Parks might take over?
So he will not take that one over. As far as I know, he will be a large part of it because it is a city park and they're going to be doing improvements in the park. But I don't know as of today. We're having some internal discussions on a lot of these projects on whether the city just wants to take them over, especially in our parks areas, because we're going to have to be heavily involved anyway.
Right.
Yeah, and so this is another one of those, but I would, if there's a commissioner that wants to put their name on this one, I recommend that we do so. And then at the time we know for sure what's going to happen, then we'll let everybody know.
All right, why don't I join Commissioner Thigpen on this one? So put me down on that one. The next one is the JOJ access improvements. And that's,
So this, I believe, this is the access improvement. This is a public works project,
that's
isn't
the
that
cutting,
right,
that's the
Aaron?
cutting of the curb
Yeah.
and putting in a new driveway to get
So
in
we,
there.
we really don't need any assignment on here. So we can take you off, let it run by the city. Unless you just want to go visit every once in a while.
I've been up there. It's great.
All right.
You could hold Aaron accountable.
And then we got
Okay.
and then we got the First Baptist Church, is that right, the next
Yes.
one? 32, and that one, Commissioner Newby is the sole commissioner on. Commissioner Travis, you want to join on that one?
Yes, yes. I was just going to volunteer.
Thank you.
And are we not assigning 31 because it's a park? It's over 50.
So that's another one we're talking about. So although I said assign, let's leave it as is. Because we will have to have heavy involvement because that's Demuth. And I think originally the building they wanted to put it on, we said they couldn't do that. We have to look for another place to put it. So I think it's sort of up in the air.
And it also has to go back to Public Art
Probably.
Commission, doesn't it? And
Public Arts, and some of these may even have to go back to the Parks Commissions too, so.
I think that takes care of everything.
If that one ever does get assigned, I'd be interested in that one as well.
Okay, sure. Let me put your name back.
Being a quarter Filipino, I gotta rep it.
Ah, perfect. I'll do it during my budget update. Sorry.
Yeah, and then the last thing was, what about projects that were approved for funding by Measure J prior to last year, but still are not completed? Is there any need to have oversight
No.
on those?
I think most of those are city ran. So the hiking trail maintenance is, I think that's actually Aaron's, isn't it, Aaron? Oh, Parks and Rec. And then Swim Center is, that project is no longer because it's looped into the big Swim Center project
Right.
that we funding by debt service. And then the Palm Canyon Theater is actually Public Works, so that's Aaron. So no need to assign.
Okay. All right. See you next month, thank you, or before, in touch. Okay. Budget update.
Hold on. Make sure.
No.
Oh, got it, okay, all right. So, I'm up. All right, everybody can go to the colorful budget update summary. Page 1 of 5. I'll give everybody a minute to get there. So, I think what we've kind of considered doing is, you know how a couple months ago we went in detail by project by project by project. We'll probably do that once a quarter because things just don't change on a month-to-month basis very, very often. So tonight I'll do another high-level presentation. We've updated all the numbers where you see it. You've got statuses and project owner, just like last time. If there's any specific project questions that you want to ask, Aaron and David from Public Works are here tonight. Joel has excused himself from his for tonight, but feel free to ask questions about any of the projects. If we can answer them, we will answer them. Okay, let's start with this summary, and I'm gonna skip around this just a little bit. So on the blue column is the actuals year to date. So if you look at sales tax revenue, that's 6.44 million sales tax revenue to date, and we've earned 458,000 in interest income to date, for a total revenue of 6.9 million. I want to stop there, and I want you to flip to the very last page, page 5 of 5. It'll be a sales tax comparison. Let everybody get there for a minute. So this is, I've been bringing this to the commission every month because it's interesting to see how we're doing this year compared to prior years, right? And if you look at the 2026 column, right now we've collected 4 months of revenue, and you know we're 2 months behind, so in December we collected October's sales. So if you look at that column, at the 6.44 million I just described, Last year at this time, we were at 6.039 million. So we're up year-to-date 6.7%. You can see the strong September at 22.4%. But year-to-date, great numbers. We're actually trending, if you do the math, we are trending at or above all of the prior years that you see here. So it's very nice to see that these entry, typically this time of the year in the past few years, we've kind of been below prior year, and our entry points into the year haven't been the best. But this is nice to see, and you really can't, it's still so early, you really can't take this 6%, say that's what's going to be for the rest of the year. But it's nice to have an entry point that's positive and significantly positive, and we hope that that continues. A lot of months left to collect, and so we collect 65 to 70% of our sales tax revenue in the last half of the year. So a lot of if the tourism business continues to be strong, we're going to have a good year. If it, for whatever reason, has a slowdown, then that could affect how we're trending today. But it's nice to see this trending upward compared to prior year, and we just hope that continues.
If it does continue, Chris, rather than $21 million, my numbers would kick us up into the $22+ million number.
About 22 and a half in that range. Yeah. Yeah, and that will probably, if you look back at 2022, in this slide, you see the total amount was 22.2 million. That's the most collections of sales tax we've had in the history of Measure J. So if we're able to continue on these percentages and be near that number, it'll be a very good year for Measure J.
Okay.
All right, back to the first page. And just to Peter, to your point, in the first green column there, you see that 21.822 million number for sales tax. That's what's budgeted. So if we were to eclipse the 22 million number, then we would be over budget, which is nice. So, and just to address the other, the 750,000 interest income below that number, it's conservative. We're going to beat that number again. We're probably going to be somewhere where we were last year at 1.3, 1.4 million in interest income. Okay, going down the rest of the column, we don't have any streets repair work yet. That contract's probably going to be issued or RFP'd soon and then issued, and we'll continue on our streets work. The debt service, that 783,952 number. What we do for the downtown revitalization, the debt service is a total of 3.13 million. Just every quarter, we book a quarter of the expense. And then at the end of when we issue the debt, it gets to the 1.3. We just don't take a hit all at one time. We do that with a lot of things in the city. Going all the way down.
Can I stop you for a minute? How long does the downtown revitalization project?
2034. So the same time as the convention center debt falls off of the general fund, this falls off of the Measure J fund. So when we project way out, and we've been projecting out to somewhere around 2040 to make sure that a lot of these projects we're talking about can be absorbed, and they can. We look at what happens in 2034 when that falls off. It really opens up Measure J for other significant projects that it could afford. I'll be retired by then, though.
We'll be all.
Only Melissa will still be.
Only Melissa will still be.
Them too.
All right, going down on the expenses. Expenses so far for community-initiated projects is 180,000. So that's some of the checks that we've cut out and some of the expenses for some of the older projects. We anticipate we're going to begin cutting some checks. We've met with just about everybody. We may have a couple outstanding. So we're getting agreements signed. We're getting understanding of the projects in place. We're getting commissioners assigned. City staff is assigned. So we anticipate that we're going to be cutting checks in some frequency over the next quarter. Capital projects, 8.9 million. A lot of that is some carryover streets work from the last streets project. We'll see that in the detail. Transfers out to other funds, 360,000. 250,000 of that we transferred out to the Public Arts Fund. That was part of that loan. We put loan to Public Arts Fund. So that will come back to us at a later date. And then for Public Works projects and vehicle purchases and deferred maintenance, we'll get to that detail, but 1.2 million so far today. So a total of 11.5 million in expenditures. And what's interesting, if you look to the left in the white column, so last year, in the entirety of the year, we only had 13.45 million in expenses. So we're at 11.5 now through the first 6 months. So that should tell you we're really making some good progress on a lot of the projects that are in play. A lot of the older projects are getting, in place now. They're getting touched. So we think we're going to have a good year of spend and get a lot of these projects moving and underway. Okay, we'll go to some of the detail. If you flip over to the next page, page 2 of 5, open it up. Again, I'm not going to go through all of this stuff, but what's good to see is you see the projects in the very first column I've got in red, 1924 and 2116. You got it, Jack? Just want to make sure everybody's got it. Okay, so it's going to be, the Demuth Park improvements, and I can't give it away, but it's going to be at the next council meeting to be approved by City Council. It's a significant more, Measure J funds a good portion of this, but there's some funding coming from other funds too. But you will see this improvement to Demuth on the next council meeting, and so that's going to start getting some traction as well. Any questions on this page? I'll give you a minute.
1924 you were talking about?
1924 and 2116. So Joel has combined those into
Doing
one.
it together?
And we'll probably put those in one line once all this gets worked out. We'll flip it over to the next page, and this is deferred maintenance page and some vehicle purchases. So again, you can see in the expenditures line, FY 25-26, we're making really good progress on a lot of these projects. We are pulling some of these 27 projects into the fiscal year 26. The 2-year budget allows us to do that. We'll be probably making a budget adjustment to show that here in the next few months. But again, we're making some good progress on these. David and Aaron are in the audience if anybody has any questions on any of these projects. And we'll just flip over one more page to what we just looked at, which is the community-initiated projects. So you can see we are really starting, if you look at the ones that you all approved, start at 13 in the very first column and go all the way down. So all those projects are the projects that this commission approved. So if you look at some of the expenses, we've cut a check to the Women's Club. The Desert Arts Center attic installation, did I get that right here? Yeah, so that project is complete. That's the 27,974. It's project 22 in the first column. That project is finished. And then all the way down to number 33, the 1PS neighborhood blade signs. That was 44,601. So, Peter, I know you know who Denise Goolsby is. A lot of you guys probably know Denise. She is working very closely with 1PS on this, and she says that we should be installing signs soon and probably have it completed by the end of June. So
Yeah, they did at the 1PS meeting Tuesday night. They put up an overview of all of the intersections that have street lights, traffic signal lights, where they're going to be attaching these. And they're all over the city.
Yeah,
So it's made a comprehensive job of finding it.
yeah, so that's really cool to see some of the things going in action. And we told Denise that she had to put a Measure J plaque on each, stoplight.
No, I was gonna raise that question, it's not on the agenda, but at some point, maybe next month, we can have somebody come from city who can talk to us about permanent Measure J signs to put on projects, because it's been almost a year since we've asked for something like that.
Yeah, it's funny, I was walking into Booth Park, and there's a measure, where they're doing the pickleball court upgrade and expansion. There's a Measure J sign there. That's one of the older signs, but it's still, it's
There were 6 signs around the Ruth Hardy Park.
All right.
They knew that I was gonna be there.
Yeah.
They wanted to make sure that they had signs everywhere.
So it's good to see this project, and like I said, I really think, after Melissa and I have met with a lot of these organizations, we're gonna start seeing some checks go out the door. So, we've talked to Mizell Center and Boys and Girls Club, and I know, Mizell Center is a city-owned building, so David's involved in that project. Also heavily involved in the Boys and Girls Club, because that's in Sunrise Park. They own the building, we own the land. But so, David's looking at that project and helping them through that as well, so that's good. So, yeah, checks are gonna be going out the door pretty soon.
So I have a quick question about 2 of these. The Art Museum elevator replacement says had meeting, having internal discussions. What does that mean?
It just means we're having internal discussions.
So that's a project that's not getting started yet.
Yeah, we haven't, we're still looking at getting some documentation from the Art Museum before we issue them check, just like we ask of any nonprofit, all the list of things that we need according to our new grants and sponsorships policy. And so we're working with the Art Museum to complete all their documentation. But yes, we did meet with them, and we're moving forward.
And then the other question I have was Prescott Preserve, because I think that planning either has to happen this spring or they have to wait for the fall. So
That's
do you know if
correct.
there's a time frame on
Yeah,
that?
I do. Melissa and I just met with them last week, I think, and they said the same thing, Commissioner Travis, that they do expect to get started, I think, pretty soon, and then there'll be a gap in, what they can do, and then, get into the fall and do some remaining. They just wanted to be sure that before they take their first check, that there's a lot of inventory of the trees that they're looking for, so that they, don't sit on their funds for a while.
Right. Okay.
Jack?
Yeah, the Baptist Church, the note is waiting on audit. Does that mean, have they started the audit, or?
Yeah,
they're just?
so we've had a couple of conversations with them and sort of guiding them through what the city needs, trying to make it as easy as we can on them, but get the necessary information that we need. They've been phenomenal, very receptive. We should probably, they've got a firm engaged, so we should be, hearing on how that's going soon.
Because they're expensive.
Well, and that's one of the things that we are trying not to do, right? Is we have scaled down our request for an audit for a lot of these nonprofit organizations to something very small. And it's called an agreed upon procedures audit. It's about 10 steps, maybe even less than that. And so, it's a day of testing, if that, a day to write the report. So we're trying to really narrow down, I've talked to their firm, I've told them, what we want, what we're looking for. And, and I've specifically told them we're really trying to keep the costs down. So. Any other questions on any of the projects for David or Aaron or anything we've got?
I'd like to go back and make a comment, I guess, about the convention center.
Yeah.
When we talked about it in May and agreed to provide the funding for design, the concept was, once we issue debt, the money's gonna come back to Measure J.
Yep.
But now we know that Measure J is gonna be providing, perhaps, at least be requested to provide funding for that financing. So in a sense, the money's gonna come out of our left pocket and go into our right pocket.
I mean, that's, yeah. It's essentially, that's what's going to happen. Yeah, the design cost will be embedded in the bond proceeds. Now, I will say, since we have the TID on board, that's going to be funding a portion of that. Measure J is not going to absorb all of that, but they will absorb some.
Any other questions or comments by commissioners? If not, I will entertain them. Oh, better look at the agenda. Oh, yeah, public comment, non-agenda items. Are there any? There are none. Any staff or Measure J Oversight Commission member items and requests? If not, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Anybody?
I'll move.
A second? We have to do a roll call vote to adjourn, Melissa?
As long as you guys.
We'll all walk out. That's it.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Bye, Paul.
Thank you all. I see you at the February meeting.